All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. If you're just tuning in, this is Real Talk with Kike. And on the second segment of the show, we will look at the entry issue from the perspective of the government and the law. And we shall be discussing the justification, the possible outcomes and expected goals of the new law by the government. To do justice on this segment is a Nigerian legal practitioner and women's rights activist, Mrs. Funmi Falana. She's also the wife of Funmi Falana-san and the mother of the famous Falz, the artist. Mrs. Funmi Falana currently serves as the National Director of Women Empowerment and Legal Aid, WELA, a non-governmental organization that defends the rights of the people. Many thanks for joining us on this program, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Kike.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, because of time, I think we should quickly go straight to the point because we'll be going on a quick break. Welcome again, ma'am, for joining us. Like I said earlier, can you kindly run us through the CAMA 2020 imposed by President Buhari from a legal perspective?
Yes, thank you. The CAMA, the one we call CAMA 2020,
yes,
is the Coupling and Allied Matters Act, which is a review of the 1990 CAMA. Where if you say imposed on Nigerians, I disagree, because it is a law that was promulgated by the National Assembly.
Okay. And
I think they had a time to also debate this law before it passed through the first reading, the second reading, became a bill, and until it was signed into law.
Okay.
So I will not agree with you that it was imposed, because there was actually the time that it was discussed. But be that as it may, it is 780 sections of the law. And according to the government, it is designed such that businesses will be made easy for people who may want to come and invest in the country. And it's about 604 pages. But looking at it, it looks so bulky and tedious. And I also think for the purpose for which they claim this amendment has been done, it looks too bulky for such. Anybody coming to invest in Nigeria will find such law as too cumbersome to go through an 870 sections of the law before you can incorporate that.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll go on a quick break and return after headline news. But first, a word from our sponsors. Do not touch that dial. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, thank you for still staying tuned with us. We have Mrs. Funmi Falana, who currently serves as the National Director of Women Empowerment and Legal Aid, WELA, a non-governmental organization that defends the rights of women and children. Of course, she's also a practicing Nigerian legal practitioner. Again, thank you so much for staying tuned with us, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, ma. So, thank you for your submission earlier. I cannot help but ask that, you are a representative of the government of the show today, and the government is hoping to achieve in terms of motive for reviewed act of the CAMA. So, my question is, what do you think that the government is trying to achieve with the new law that has been reviewed?
Yes, thank you. According to the government, the aim, the main objective of the review is to make business easy for people who may want to come from outside the country to invest in Nigeria. So they have simplified the process of incorporating companies and other associations. But the bone of contention and the one that has generated so much heat is a particular section.
Yes.
That is section 839, subsection 1 and 2, which specifically deals with non-profit organizations. That is
the NGO.
Charity organization. It could be cultural, it could be social, it could be religious.
Okay.
Yes, and it could be educational, but they are basically charity organizations that do not, that are not for profit making. And the provision of this section is that if it appears that the association is going outside the objective of the organization, or that the properties is being dealt with in a way that is contrary to the interest of the members or public interest, or there is misconduct or misrepresentation by the trustees. It is the provision that the commission, that is Company and Microsoft Commission, CAC, can take over. Well, not take over, can remove, suspend, so to say, suspend the trustee and appoint the trustee for them for a particular period to manage it. Well, that is section 1, but section 2 says that this order, it is by an order that this can be done. And section 2 goes on to say that, subsection 2 goes on to say that this order will be obtained from a court of law. Okay. It therefore means that it cannot be suo motu. The order cannot be suo motu, that is on their own, taken by the commission. The commission has to take an order from the court. And as a matter of fact, the application to the court, the law says, must be supported by at least 20%. That is 1/5 of the members of the association. So I am a pastor, I am a Christian, so I actually do not know why our colleagues, our Christian brethren are complaining about this. Because it is basically that section basically wants what we call prudence, accountability, which is not even peculiar to religious organizations alone, and not all other organizations that are for non-profit, including us and any other NGO. Like my own NGO, I have an NGO, and it's also, the provision is also binding on us. But the point I'm making is, even if we have, because at the point of discussing this deal, Christians and Muslims alike, had the opportunity to also present ourselves and insist that some of these sections should be expunged from the law.
All right.
There was a particular section that would have been included, and that was that a trustee, as soon as the clock 70 years, should be removed. And that, of course, is not stay through the second reading. It was expunged, and it's not part of the law now. So I don't know why people are making so much noise. All
right, ma. So
especially Christian associations.
I'm glad that you said what you said, and also that you also had that you're also a pastor. But the argument that surfaces that we are in a flexible, democratic, and economic system that allows for freedom. That is free entry, free exit, and religious freedom, so to speak, if that's the right word to use. Don't
secular nation.
Yeah. So don't you think that the CMA bill comes to infringe such rights?
Yeah, thank you. I was going to expect that you would say, does it not infringe on the constitutional right of freedom of assembly or freedom of association? That I want my trustee, and as an association we have chosen our trustee. Somebody cannot just come from outside to remove our trustee. Fine, that is why the court is the arbiter. There is no organization, no body, a particular body like a commission that will single-handedly or suo motu take over or remove trustees without going to the court. In other words, there is the fair hearing. That same section, subsection 2, gives the fair hearing to the association. In other words, if an application is taken to court and the court discovers that the process of taking over is not appropriate, or no mismanagement or misconduct has occurred, or the properties of the association is not being dealt with in a way that is contrary to the objectives of the association, the court will make an order that the trustees be not removed. So it is not automatic as it is made to be that, okay, we're going to apply, immediately we suspend it. No, the matter goes to court.
Okay.
So everybody has a right of a day in court. That is fair hearing.
All right. Thank you so much for that submission, ma. But, the bill, according to the Senate, seeks to provide for the incorporation of companies, limited liability partnership, limited partnership, registration of business names together with incorporation of trustees of certain communities and bodies of association. So, the question is, how come we are having a myopic outcry on the bill, giving a surface impression like the bill seeks to attack religious body?
Yeah, thank you. As a matter of fact, it is not peculiar, like I rightly said.
Yes.
It is not peculiar to religious bodies. All other organizations, non-governmental organizations and associations that are not for profit making. And the essence of this is because under the Nigerian law, organizations that are not for profit making are exempted from tax. And so for the economy of the country, if you are going to exempt any company from any organization or any association from paying tax, you must know that they are actually doing what they are registered to do and that they are not for profit making. That is why the law, I think this section is put in there to monitor not just religious bodies, but religious organizations feel it is going too far, looking into the affairs of the church or of the mosque. Oh, fine, but I also want to believe that our Bible stipulates that a steward should be found faithful.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 2 specifically says it is desirable that a steward be found faithful. In other words, we should not be afraid of accountability.
Absolutely.
I am the head of a church and I am always ready to be accountable because God wants us to be. So we shouldn't be afraid.
All right, Matt. Thank you please, can you kindly hold your thoughts? We have a caller on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, good evening, Kike.
Good evening. What's your contribution today? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. First, I want to just respond a bit to your guest.
Okay.
I don't think the churches are afraid of accountability. I also belong to a church. By the grace of God, I'm a member of the board of the church.
Okay.
And we do annual general meeting.
Okay.
But we are accountable to the members of the church who willingly give for the work of the church.
Okay.
Because the government does not in any way give the church anything. It is members that contribute, and these contributions are willing contributions. Nobody is forced to give offering in the church, for instance. So at the end of the year, we do what we call annual stated meeting, and all members are free to come, join that meeting to ask questions about how those monies they contributed were used. And that happens yearly. So accountability is already in the church. And I also heard the Methodist minister, he emphasized it. It's there. But we know Nigeria. By the time you allow government intrude so much into church, politics will get into the church. Because if somebody appoints his loyalists to become a trustee of a church.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Yeah, ma'am. Do you have any thing to say?
Yes, I have a reaction to that.
Okay, ma'am.
The commission is not the one that will single-handedly or to go out of its way to say, I want to change the trustees. It must be an application by the members who are aggrieved.
Okay.
Who you claim you are accountable to. And of course, it has to be about 20% of the members of your church, not just a disgruntled individual or two or three who feel the pastor or the head of the church is not doing what he wants him to do. No, must be such that about 20%, 1/5 of the church are dissatisfied with what is happening, and they take up an application to CNC. And CNC will now apply to court.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. We have another caller on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from, please? Please, in 30 seconds.
Okay, hello, good evening, Kike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Funmi, and I'm calling from traffic.
Okay.
Really, my contribution is that if churches are really charity organizations like they claim to be, then why is it, just like the last caller said before you went on break, why is it that the family members wife and children are members of the board of trustees in these churches. If they are non-profit making organization, what is the source of their funding? And why are they scared of accountability? Why should accountability be restricted to members alone?
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution.
What is the fear? Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Ma'am.
And that is the essence of the law. There shouldn't be any fear. Nobody should be afraid of accountability. And
Absolutely.
I am also saying that in a situation where the members of your family are trustees, there is no way members will not begin to look deeply into the account. It just gives room for members to look into the accounts of the church and the way churches are being run, which is okay. It is still part of democracy you are talking about. It is still part of freedom of association. I want to have a say in the way my church is being run.
Yeah.
So the last the penultimate one, caller that called, was talking about they are accountable to members. Oh, fine. They are accountable to members, and it is these same members that will be disgruntled or that may be dissatisfied, that have the power to go to court, not CAC. So if you are accountable to your members, fine. That means the law supports accountability to members.
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't be afraid.
All right, ma. Thank you so much for your submission. I can't help but ask, because perhaps there is a financial angle to the CAMA bill that is not in black and white to concerned parties, because listening to callers, listening to all the research I've made, ma, can we say the government I stand to be corrected, is in disguise trying to have a purview into the revenue and taxing system of religious and charity organizations in Nigeria?
Yes, I agree with you. And it happens even in UK. It's such a law, a similar law. I think it was imported from the United Kingdom. Okay. So, this church had a problem. Yes, okay. One of our churches, and had a problem in UK about this law. Okay. Yes, this is exactly what the government is trying to do. Okay. We want to look into the finance of the church, because some churches, according to government, claim they are not profit-making, but they're actually into business where they make profit. And so if they are doing this, if you are going outside charity, say that is it. That's it. That's what the government is trying to do, perhaps to enlarge their source of revenue, to bring in more money and to recover more tax. That's what they are trying to do. And so some organizations, some churches that claim they are non-profit making, and if they're actually non-profit making, they have no problem with this law. But when it is discovered that you are not adhering to the objectives of the association, that is when members, and it has to be reported to CAC. An application has to be taken to CAC before CAC can act. That's it. And the order will be taken from the court, not even by CAC itself.
All right.
But CAC will take the application to court. Members take the application, sign it, and submit to CAC, and CAC files an application in court.
All right. Thank you so much for your submission, ma. And again, I must say many thanks for showing more light for us regarding the current topic at hand. To digress a bit from the core agenda of discussion, you are a woman rights activist that also advocate for children welfare. Where do you see the condition of women and children today in the society? We know it is a progressive work, if I must say. What are the major concerns for us as a nation in these areas, ma'am?
It's unfortunate that the place of women in Nigeria, in the Nigerian community, has really not been placed. That's really not been defined. Up till now, we still discover that in homes, we hear cases of domestic violence. In my organization, at least an average of 4 women come to report cases of domestic violence to me. And on a daily basis, I'm sure you will agree with me, on pages of the paper, we get to read about girls, underage girls that have been molested, raped, even by biological father, even by their stepfather. And now, let's again look into politics. You discover that the place of women in politics are so marginalized. Positions of appointment, Why the law says that at least 35%, the affirmative law, that at least 35% of appointments must be given to women. We don't have that.
All right. Thank you so much,
ma'am. These are things that we should look at and accord Nigerian women their proper position in their society. All
right. Many thanks for honoring us with a short notice. It is an absolute privilege, Ma, to have a caliber of your legal figure on the show. And of course, a pastor, which I took away from the show today. Keep up the good works for the children and women in the country. Many thanks again, Ma, for joining me today. Definitely, we really appreciate you. So our closing remarks, courtesy Omoluabi personality from Goldberg, is Ilutiko Sofi. It is exercising of right to give our voices against what counters our fundamental rights and freedom. However, let's endeavor to remain on the good side of law. An individual who stays on the right side of the law is a respected citizen. And this is why I close the curtains of the show today. My name remains Kike. Until I come your way next week, please stay safe and bye now.